recorded about 30 minutes worth of content to put out there, and then I got through with it all, and I ran it back, and there was no sound. So I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I'm still learning. This is still a work in progress. And I mean, a year ago, I had no idea how to answer the phone. You know, so things are starting to come together. Sometimes this podcast is going to require me to throw some content out there by myself. So I'm going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do. It's going to be like some kind of self-interview, but I'll take you through some of my experiences in the penitentiary and get some people who don't know what it's like. And there's some guys that have been to the joint, but they're like level 1s and 2s, and they got no real clue what the United States penitentiaries are like, what the level 4s are like, what the politics are like, and all of that. And I'm going to try to enlighten you a little bit, because I hope that with that enlightenment will come a realization that it's not something that that you want to participate in on any level, especially in them higher levels. And if you haven't been in trouble yet, or you just ain't been caught, man, take it from me, now's the time to step back and get out of it. I mean, I like to tell people, you don't always control your own destiny in there. You don't. There's only a certain amount of the destiny, your own self, that you control, because there's rules. There's things you're going to follow, things you're going to go by. And win, lose, or draw, you're going to follow those rules, because your own people will get on you if you don't. And it may seem silly or whatever, but it don't matter. And you're not there to evaluate what the rules are. You're there to follow them and do what goes on. I'm not talking about prison rules. Nobody gives a fuck about that. When you're in there, it's our rules. There is no highway. It's just my way. That's the way it is. And I mean, when I say don't control a lot of your own destiny, I'll take you on a couple of trips and these little short stories here for the podcast while I'm filling in between interviews. That's to be story time with Ronnie. Ronnie on the spot. I'll put myself on the spot. So here's the get down. I'm in McCreary Prison. Okay, it's in Kentucky. It's a level 4. It's right down from Big Sandy. It just opened up, hadn't been opened up that long. And there's a few gang members on the yard, not many. It's just pretty much the woods got to, the independent woods got the grip on that yard. And let me tell you about the independent woods. This is the way it goes, okay? And this may end up, you know, and this causes them trouble somewhere down the line too when they partake in this. But in the federal penitentiary, this is the way it is. If a gang is getting too far out of control on a yard, all the whites, which are then your independent woods, all the whites will get together, and then one day they will go out to the yard and they will overwhelm that gang with sheer numbers, and that gang will be off the yard. And then if they start trying to send more gang members there, the woods will get on them as they get off the bus. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is in the feds, period. You can only push a grown-ass man around so freaking much. Now, granted, those guys, when they individually get transferred to another prison and one of them gang members that were on that yard sees them, those guys are in a world of hurt. That's why I trip on, you got these independent woods coming out of the Fed, and they're getting on here and they're saying, hey, you know, yeah, we did this or we did that, and you know, and they're admitting to partaking and being in this overwhelming group that jumped the gang off a yard like that. And to me, I mean, I commend you for owning it, but it could come back to haunt you, because a gang member out here could see that and say, you know what, I was one of them dudes they mobbed off that fucking yard. I've never got to see one of them dudes since then, and I got me one now. So I try not to invite trouble, you know. I mean, first of all, I got nothing bad to say about any gang. They do what they do, and if somebody joins it, that's their own personal decision. Gangs are what they are. In some places, I happen to believe that gangs are needed, if just for self-defense. You know, for a group has to come together just to be able to function in some of these joints, you know. So some gangs, some joints are needed gangs just to function, you know, just for whites to function. The whites needed a gang. So I don't knock any of these gangs, and I I just don't try to put them down, but I don't try to get up here and say anything that I think might come back to haunt me. So, and when I see that happening, I just think that, you know what, here's an independent Wood that did his time. He got wrapped up in a few of these things, and he really doesn't know. And I view it when you're out there saying that, yeah, we did this or we did that as independents. We mobbed this gang and ran them off the yard. And you're really inviting trouble because you don't know who's listening. You don't know who's watching. And you don't know who's researching just where the fuck you are, what the fuck they might do, because some of these gang members got some sick members in it. So, anyways, you know, having said that, so I'm in McCreary, Kentucky, down from Murder Mountain, Big Sandy, but it's still a USP. It's just opening up. It hasn't had a body yet, and the warden wants a body. He's not going to lock that prison down, he says, until he gets his first body, and he stuck by that, man. And so what happens is. There's a Colorado AB, Randy, lives next door to me. Now, I live upstairs all the way in the corner, and that's my cell. And the Aztecos, there's about 15 of them, 16 of them on the yard. They will come up there 7, 8, 9, 10 deep, and they will work out. You know, they ask me, Ronnie, said, cool, yeah, go ahead, work out right there. So they work out right there in the corner in front of my cell, and every one of them had a knife. Mandatory, it's their bylaws. They have to have one at all times, no matter what level they're in, no nothing. They don't care. If you're in church, you're going to have a knife. Doesn't matter. So the Aztecos are working out there. They got their knives. They put them underneath this utility closet door every time when they're working out. Randy, Colorado AV Randy, owes him $1,500. My celly, the dummy, he owes him 10 stamps, man. 10 funky stamps. Not even $10. 10 stamps. Okay? And who do you think they're going to hit to make pay? Not Randy. They don't want to lose that $1,500. They hit my celly for them 10 stamps. Randy gets a look and goes, yeah, these dudes are vicious. They're going to kill somebody over 10 stamps. I owe them $1,500. I better pay. So they're going to use my celly to send the message. I'm not really aware of this, but the arithmetic's not that hard to do if you've been in the penitentiaries enough to know the politics. I don't know anybody, nothing. It's not how I function. It's not my thing. I go up to my cell one day, man, they're out there working out, and I know the shot caller, Pelone. He's not there. Shooter is there, who's their dude that I think he's done a few hits, and they call him Shooter for a reason. So he starts talking to me about where's my celly and all of this. And I'm kind of not liking the drift of this conversation, man, because it don't involve me. And Shooter's talking to me with his hands and all this shit right here, right? And they're telling me, you know what, Shooter, Don Corleone, fuck you and your knife, man. Let's go, me and you. And I walk in the cell, I see his shadow. He's pulling this knife out. I snatch him. He's not a big dude. I throw him on the bed, and I have his knife in his hand against the wall, and I'm hitting him. Bam. And I feel it, man. Pop, pop, pop. 4 or 5 times, I get hit. Boom. And these guys all got rods and shit. So these rods will go in, they'll come out, they'll close up, you get internal bleeding. I let go of Shooter's hand to grab this dude's hand right here, and Shooter hits me a couple times. Pop, pop. The fucking rod, and they pull Shooter out, and off they go, and I'm in the cell. Bam. I can feel it. I'm bleeding on the inside. Somewhere, I don't know why I know it, but I know they got me in the spleen. Okay? It's one of my helicopter rides. And I know they got me in the spleen, and this cat from Tennessee that lives a few doors down comes running in, white dude. He goes, well, what do you want me to do? And I didn't have my knife because I had left it slid down the side of my chair where sometimes when I'm watching TV, I'll keep it. And I left it right there and went up to my cell, but just for a minute, right? I tell him, go down here, get my knife off the chair. This is where it's at in the chair. Get the knife. Go to homeboy, get his knife. Come up here. We're going to tie these knives to my hands, and I'm going to run through these fucking dudes on my way out. And he looks at me, and he goes, oh, no, you're not. He goes, what you got to do is run through medical on your way out. And he takes off. I'm standing there. I'm starting to get woozy now. I'm bleeding on the inside pretty good. I walk out. Paylone's over there, and he tells me, hey, you know, what the fuck? And I'm fed up with these dudes. Fuck you, what the fuck? I go back in, and I know if I let myself hit the floor in this cell, I'm dead. Bottom line, I can feel I'm bleeding on the inside really good. So I go downstairs and tell the cop, hey, man, I fell on my knife coming down the stairs. He goes, yeah, Ronnie, how many times you fall on it? I don't know, 6 or 7. He goes, all right, can you make it to medical? So I insist on it. So I'm starting to walk. I didn't make it. I woke up on a helicopter flying. I was on my way to Nashville, Tennessee to the trauma unit and all of that. I didn't have control of my own destiny. I went up there. I didn't have to get in my feelings. I bought that on myself. I mean, but it is what it is, right? Because it can't be what it ain't. Live and learn. My celly paid his 10 stamps, and you better know, trust, and believe that Randy paid his 1,500 when he found out that was what everything was all about. Now, later on that day, the Florida Woods, all the white dudes from Florida come out. I came in with most of those dudes, right? And they tell all the whites, we're going to hit 5 or 6 of these Aztecos on the yard tomorrow and take them off the yard. Ronnie will come back out. They'll go in. And the Woods didn't want to do it. They said, look, he's one guy, man. You're going to set this whole thing off because the northern Mexicans there are going to back these Aztecas. They got a truce. They're going to do that. They got an agreement. And it's going to be a big old large-scale riot. And just let it go. We'll politic it, which was probably the right way to go, man. You know, people losing their life and shit over everything. So the Florida card told them, no, we're hitting these dudes. We don't give a fuck if you guys want us to or not. So what happened was that night at dinner, all the Woods jumped the Florida car. And they all came to the hole. And the feds got some weird and vicious politics. Personally, in hindsight, man, I didn't want nobody losing their life over that. It was over a 10-stamp fucking deal, but it was over me not knowing that, you know what, hey, it really ain't my business. I need to mind my business. I got in my fucking feelings about this, talking to me with his hands and all that gangster shit. And I had to call him Don Corleone and invite him to a fight and leave 7 of his shooting buddies, his knife-wielding buddies at my fucking door. Oh, you know what? I deserve that. But live and learn, right? And my point is this. You do not control your own destiny, only to a certain degree. That's what can happen that fucking quick in the pen. You know? Ain't nobody go through the federal penitentiaries for as long as I did and come out without some fucking scars. You may not take a helicopter ride, but you're going to take some scars. You're going to get it. I mean, there's been times that shit is kicked off and I've been so outnumbered that I've looked like a pillowcase full of fucking doorknobs. And we can put that on the green screen back here and show you, man. I've had so many blacks in the middle of a riot where I get caught, me and 3 other dudes, in a section where it's us against about 50. And we just got mopped and mobbed. And guess what? I'm still here today doing this podcast here. So I think I won. I feel like a winner. And when you're going to see these pictures on this, man, yeah. Yeah, like I said, a pillowcase full of doorknobs. I was pretty well knotted up. Walked away from it feeling good about still breathing because 2 of them didn't make it out alive that were with us out of the 4. I've talked about it in other podcasts. But the thing is this, is that you go to these prisons and you think it's a walk in the park and a cakewalk. And sometimes for some of you, it might be. Those are the ones that keep coming back and keep coming back for the cakewalk, right? Until it isn't, you know? First killing I seen, man. I was so, it was like, wow, Ronnie, you really stepped off into it now, didn't you? I feel very lucky and fortunate to be here with you today. And I feel blessed. I got a great wife, beautiful wife. Stands by me no matter what. And sometimes I can be a hard one to stand by. I know it. But I sure appreciate her. She did a good chunk of that time with me. And she stands by me and she backs me on anything I do as long as it's the right thing. I want to do some squirrely thing like a podcast. She's behind me with it, 1,000%, you know. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and succeed, if not for anything else, for my wife. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going back to prison for a lot of reasons, but you can believe the fact that I owe her that much is one of them. So yeah, controlling your own destiny. You go into prison, you only have so much control over you, because what other people do can affect you in ways you can't imagine. You know, so like I said, if you're in a position to where you haven't got caught yet, or you haven't done anything wrong yet, time to not go to prison. The best way to stay out of prison is to never go to prison in the first place. The best way to never go back to prison is to never go to prison in the first place. You know what I mean? So I'll sit back here and from time to time when I got to fill in some things in between interviews and whatnot, and I'll sit here and do some story time to you. I know that the upcoming interviews today, I know I got a mobster from back in the Colombo crime family out of New York. I'm going to do something with him. He's known for having some books are out about him, and he's had about 20 murders under his belt. He's a bad dude, man. Here's the thing too, you guys say, oh, this guy fucking, he got out of his family, they let him out, he turned. I don't ask these guys these questions. I don't care whatever their deal, their drama was, man, that's on them. I don't know if they turned, flipped, flopped, what they did or didn't do. I don't care. I'm gonna have an interview. I want to pick this guy's fucking brain. I want to hear what he has to say. He's got 20 hot ones under his belt, part of the Colombo crime family. He wasn't always that. So I'd like to get an inside view of some of the things that go on. I'd like to also ask him about the time when Gotti paid that money to the brand, to the AB, to keep from getting hit and everything. And I want to get into his idea of what was going through Gotti's mind, and if I'm correct, because I'm not an Italian mobster. I've functioned with a few of them, know a little bit of their lingo, but the inside scoop. It's going to be a good one with Ronnie on the spot. That'll be a good one. And then I got a guy that was in Bloody Beaumont. He just got out, but he killed a child molester on the yard there, and he went to ADX. You go to ADX, you kill somebody in the penitentiary, in the federal pens. So he's in Bloody Beaumont. He kills the child molester. He goes to ADX. He does all them years in ADX, and he's out now. And I've talked to him once or twice, to support. We got to do a support network here to keep people out. And we're going to find out what ADX is like. You hear all about this Supermax in Colorado, ADX, blah, 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 Blind Sheik there, terrorist this, the tennis shoe bomber, the butt bomber, Tommy Silverstein, Dallas Scott, and the Baron, T.D. Bingham, all these dudes, these legends in the criminal world. All these cats are in there, but you never get to talk to one of them dudes to find out what it's like through their eyes. So we're going to go ahead and get him on here and pick his brain and live a little vicariously through his eyes and see what it felt like to him being an ADX and that Supermax around all them dudes who he found to be the most dangerous and whatnot, what for, and how it worked out when it goes through a guy's mind. There's that. And then we got C.O. Bartos. He's part of the squad, and he works in High Desert, which is a vicious penitentiary. Because he's part of the squad, that means that he's the investigation stuff, gangs and killings and all of that. So a lot of stuff is coming down the pipe to you. And I look forward to all of it. You just stay tuned, get your friends, hit likes. I wasn't going to say that, but hit like and subscribe and all of that stuff. Help us make it to the top. And I look forward to talking to you again. And as I said, Ronnie on the spot. I'll be filling in with stories from my past.